Like my friend Vince, you know, I mean, I grew up with you. I'm the same age as you. I'm 74, so you bring back so many memories. We're going to allow y'all to make some questions and let her answer, so that I think that'll be part of the celebration of her being here. We'll take about 10, 15 minutes to take questions, if that's fine with you. And then we'll take a break, and we're going to have her signing her book, and you can tell her if you want your name or just her signature, and then you'll be able to take a picture with her. I want to thank you on behalf of the National Multicultural Western Heritage Museum, which is the benefit my wife and I are the founders, and you're here at Stillwater Lounge and Event Center. So thank you very much.
Okay, I'm getting over some mourning right now. I'm a Philadelphia Eagles fan. You know,
Bear down! Bear down!
we were supposed to win, but it didn't happen. But you mentioned Brett Musburger.
Yes.
Irv Cross had a very big influence on my life growing up, from being from Philly. You know, you were with Brett and Irv, and you talked about the lack of support maybe from management. But internally, how did those guys bring you along, or particularly Irv? What did he do to help you grow in the sports industry?
That's a great question, because Irv was wonderful. He was very, very supportive with me. Brett was, you know, as I said, he was like Jayne or nobody. So, you know, I'm thinking, you know, he's got my back, you know, and then one day he threw me a curveball, and I said, wait a minute, you're supposed to give me my man, you know, so he said, no. And then people talk about, you know, like she called the scores different, backward, you know, they said she called the scores backwards or something like that. And what it was that, you know, I'm thinking, when you hear backwards, I'm thinking instead of 21, it's 20, it's 12, you know?
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm going, what are you talking about? And what it was that gamblers always listen to the first number as the winning number. So, you know, I didn't gamble. How was I supposed to know that? You know, so yeah, that's what they call backwards, because I called the losing score before I called the winning score. So they were always looking for any little nitpick they could make. But Brett was great. And it was the next 30 years, and then I got a call from Brett. No, I'm sorry. I was in Las Vegas, and I went to the hotel where he was doing his show, Five Guys in the Desert.
Yeah.
And so we just bum rushed him. Basically, we went in the studio, and he was so happy to see me, and it was just great. We talked for 30 minutes on his show. And then last summer, they had the Hall of Fame in Canton, Ohio. And they were giving Brett Musburger the honorary gold coat, gold jacket. And they asked me to come and present it to him, but he didn't know it. Nobody ever told him. So I was backstage, and everybody's sitting on stage, and when they get ready to present, then I walked out on stage, and he was flabbergasted. So Brett was I mean, I'm telling you, he was the guy that got me the job. He said, it's Jayne or nobody. But, you know, and we went on the same flight every Friday night to New York, came back every Sunday night, because we both lived and worked in Los Angeles. But, you know, people are people. We have our ups and downs, but he was always supportive of me.
Thank you.
All right, yes, ma'am. Then we'll come to you, sir.
Jayne, I am one of your colleagues from the T-Board.
You know what? I was looking at you. That is so incredible. I said, she looks like one of the girls I worked with. What's your name?
Michelle Redmond.
Michelle Brookman. You were at the Bay Company T-Board.
Redmond. And I'm part of
Thank you.
I am a T-Board member, and I hope I do get to have you sign my book.
Absolutely. That is such a blessing that I get a chance to see you again. Thank you so much.
You are a blessing.
Thank you for coming.
All right. We have a question right up front here, sir.
Yes.
So I'm from Cleveland too.
Oh, you are? Okay.
Raised in South
He said
Euclid.
he's from Cleveland too.
I was raised in
Yeah.
South Euclid actually. So.
South
South
Euclid.
Euclid. I went to school there.
Oh, you did? Yeah.
So do you guys know each other?
No. Anyways, my question is, I'm sure you were a Browns fan growing up.
Absolutely Browns fan.
Yeah, so
Jim Brown.
with your work on NFL today, who were some of your favorite Browns players that you got a chance to interview, talk to?
Well, actually, I can say that, well, Jim Brown remained a friend, even once I moved to Los Angeles, because, you know, he was living there as well. So we remained friends a long, long time. But I do have to say that one of the first interviews that I did when I was signed to the NFL Today was to interview the coach of the Cleveland Browns. And so, you know, I did the interview, go to the studio, we're getting ready to do the show. We're into the show, as a matter of fact, and Brent is doing the throwaway to me. And so, you know, I'm getting ready to do the countdown, and I hear the director in my booth, 5, 4, 3. Oh my God, Jayne, you're gonna have to fill because the tape machine just ate your tape. I'm going, okay, the video's not there, it's 3 minutes long, so what am I gonna talk about for 3 minutes? That was the best thing that ever happened to me, because it gave me the confidence to know that I can handle it. He said, he gave a 3-minute countdown, a 3-second countdown, and when 1 second hit, I was on it. Because I knew the Cleveland Browns, because I knew Coach Sam Rutigliano, and because I had just been with him, and so I knew all of the stuff he was talking about, and I was able to wing it, you know, and it helped me to know that I can do this job. So, you know, that was God calling me, that was God touching me, and giving me the confidence to go forward. But, you know, there were a lot of players on the Browns that I admired, yes. And then right now, absolutely yes.
All right,
Absolutely, yes.
we'll go here and then right back there. Yes, sir.
Yes.
Hello.
Marissa.
Hello.
This is my friend Marissa.
Hello, everybody. How y'all doing? I am so thrilled that you finally got to tell this book, which I hope everybody buys this book. I've read it twice. And I've never, ever have written or read a book twice. But this right here is basically like she is telling her story, and it's her voice jumping off every single page. When you got the copy of this, your very first, that was hot off the press, sent to you, take us to the moment where you looked at your picture, the book, it was right in front of you. What was that moment like for you?
Zaire was with me. We were at the Audible Studios in Santa Monica, and we were recording the Audible version, which I was blessed to have the opportunity to do, because a lot of books, they have someone else do the voiceover, you know, but they asked me to do it. And, you know, I said, well, you know, I wasn't going to agree to it unless I did it. So, I had gotten to a point where I was very sure of myself, not, you know, not in an ugly way, but, you know, I was very confident. I knew what I needed to do, and I knew how to push myself forward and to be able to advance in my career. So I said, the only way I'll do Audible is if I do the voice. And so when they said, we want you, it was like validation.
Yeah.
So, you know, it was absolutely great. So we're in the studio, Zaire's with me, and we get to the point where they said, the books have arrived. And they had shipped them to the Audible set. And so we're opening up the box, and we see the first, I'm going, oh my God, you know, because it was real, you know, and I didn't expect to see it that soon. I expected it to come like a month later. So to have it in my hands and to actually hold it, flip through it, do you know I have never even read it?
Really?
Oh, really?
Since in the actual book, I read it so many times in all the stages of development. You know, and it's like I'm afraid to pick it up and read it, you know, and I just want to look at it, you know, but I have it, and I'm so proud of it, you know, that it's done, you know. There were sleepless nights. There were times that we went till 10 in the morning the next day, you know, just editing and making sure everything was perfect. And I still come up with edits, you know, that should have been made. And so, you know, it was, and I have people telling me, you know, well, you know, when did you decide that these were going to be the things that you talked about? And I remember that when Disney signed me, the attorney said, well, you know, you're going to have to write 375 pages. And they kind of said it like snarky. You know, they kind of, well, you know, you're going to have to write 375 pages. I was like, oh, God, I've already written 870. That's no problem. So the hardest part was whittling it down. What do I not tell?
So that means there might be a part 2 of the stuff that was cut out.
I definitely have enough to do that. You know what I decided to do is I was going to take that version and I was going to put it in leather bounding and give it to my daughters so that they would have the whole story.
So good.
Yeah.
That's so good.
All right.
I guess I better do it now since I said it out loud.
Okay, we're going to take 2 more. We have Lady right here, and then you'll be our last here, sir.
Hi, my name's Vanessa and I'm from Virginia, and I just really wanted to let you know that I so much enjoyed watching you, on TV, because I became a football fan at age 7. I used to sneak and watch football. My mom would say, you can't watch football with your daddy. Go upstairs and watch cartoons. I go upstairs and watch football. So I taught myself, football, and so I still enjoy it. I'm a Pittsburgh Steelers fan.
Okay, that's okay.
Sorry for what happened to us. I'm right there with you.
But my question is, you mentioned there is a whole group of women, younger generation, who don't know you. There's so many women in sports now. Do any of them follow you on social media or reach out to you, ask for advice? Have you kind of, sent them a message about, okay, their careers and
Her podcast is sports.
yeah. Okay, and continuing and keeping it, going, keeping that, going, and it's just wonderful. There's so many, beautiful, black women in sports, casting now, but you were the first, and so you broke the ceiling, opened
Yes.
the doors, you did
Thank you.
everything.
Thank you. I have to say that I did a documentary with TNT Network. Was it back in April? It was basically focused on generational people, women in sports broadcasting, black women in sportscasting.
Oh, wow.
And so, of course, we started with me, because I was the first. And a lot of people say they're the first, even some white girls say they were the first. And I'm going, I don't think so. But, so we started with me, then we went with Pam Oliver in that genre, and then Stephanie Reddy in her career, and then we talked about Taylor Rooks and her career. So it was the generational aspect of development and up until today. So with Taylor, I remember very succinctly, because we were telling our own stories, right? And it was such a wonderful experience. I absolutely loved it. It was so heartfelt, like the 4 of us being there, and we were all together on this round table, and we were just speaking like old friends, and it was just marvelous. Things that Pam had told, that I was familiar with. Stephanie Reddy, things that I was familiar with, because sports has always been something that's a part of me. Not that I'm very familiar, I couldn't host a show right now, because, there's a lot of things that, I'd have to brush up on. Because, I've gone in so many other directions right now. But the Taylor Rooks looked at us and she said, I never realized you guys went through all of that. And so that's the part that bothers me. That with this new generation, they have no idea what the past was like. People don't know what it was like to only have 3 networks. They wouldn't know what to do if they couldn't get an iPad or an iPhone. They wouldn't know how to live. We used to play outside, and my mom said, stay out there till the lights go off, till the lights come on, and we all know that, But, it just is these parts of life that we live are so similar, even though we have different careers. So, the thing that troubled me with Taylor Rooks was that who's not teaching this?
How does she not know?
Who's not teaching this? I was, my manager reached out to, there's a sports convention in Cleveland, Ohio that's happening this summer, and they sell sports memorabilia. And my manager reached out. Not any one of the board knew who I was. In Cleveland, sports memorabilia convention. Not one of them knew who I was. And my manager, Gregory, he said, do you want me to educate them and we go forward? I said, no, if they don't know, that's okay. We'll find something else. But, that bothers me that we have a whole generation that has no idea. So that was one of the other reasons I wrote the book. Because, like so many young women, they need to know. They need to know how hard it was. Like Taylor not knowing that we had to actually break down these barriers. And that the NFL today still doesn't have a woman on the desk after all these years.
All right, last question right here.
Yes, sir.
Jayne, Larry Lundy from Cleveland, and
Yes,
Tom
Larry.
Newton.
Hi, I remember you,
said
yeah.
we get their books.
Okay.
But while you were talking about the challenges, you had immense support with the players. Everybody wanted to sit down with you. Can you talk about, especially like the playoff game with Tampa Bay Buccaneers, which would never happen today, and that experience?
Yeah, I had the guys on my, yeah, the guys were definitely in my corner. Yeah. Well, hey, Joe Namath, you want to do, no. Jayne Kenney's gone, okay, when, where, you know. Doug Williams, okay, yeah, well, I'll do that, right? And Chicago, Walter Payton. Walter Payton had issued an edict throughout the NFL. We are going to take care of Jayne Kennedy.
That's so good.
Any interview she wants, we're going to do it. Any help that she needs, we're going to have it for her. And he had just made sure that everyone in the NFL knew that, black and white. And so it was easy for me to navigate. And it was easy because, you know, I guess it was a personality that, you know, to me, it wasn't about learning the sport, it was about learning the guys.
Right.
And that was their job was the sport part.
Right.
I was to bring the guys to the front, to the forefront. And so when we went to Tampa Bay, and so my job was not to predict on the show, right? We go to Tampa Bay, and Jimmy, Irv, Brent, they both picked. And this is Tampa Bay against Philadelphia, right? And this is, what Super Bowl was we going to?
You tell the story. We
The
know what
playoffs,
happened.
the
We know what
playoffs,
happened,
yeah. Okay, so we're in the playoffs, right? Tampa Bay and Philadelphia. And so everybody on the show picked Philadelphia. And Brent says, so what do you think, Jayne? And I'm going, okay, I'm picking Tampa Bay. And they all laughed at me. And they said, well, why? Why are you picking Tampa Bay? And I said, because, you know, we've got people on the front line that are going to give Doug the protection that he needs now, that have been out ill for like 5 weeks. And they're back now. They're back now. So Doug is going to be amazing during the game. And a couple other reasons that I gave, right? End of the game, Tampa Bay won. You know, Jimmy came up to me and grabbed me, literally, and said, don't you ever predict on this show again. You know, so we're packed up, we're headed to the airport, and Brent, Irv and I are almost at the gate, and we hear, Jayne! And we look back, and it's like O.J. Simpson running down the airport. And Doug Williams comes up to me, and he says, the guys just wanted me to say thank you for believing in us. Because they were a new team at that time.
Yeah, and they had a good cook the night before.
I cooked dinner for them the night before. Yeah, Doug and I were friends, and so he said, you know, how about we go out to dinner? I said, how about we invite some of the guys over and I cook for you? And so Jimmy Giles took me to the market, and we bought some food and came back, and we cooked fish with stuffed rice, pecans, and broccoli.
Yeah, that was
But I have so many great stories. Buy the book.
I want to let you know, most of you have already bought the book, and we want to thank you for buying it online. And then we want to thank you that have bought it here.
I've also, I created a fragrance line called Jayne Kennedy Sun and Jayne Kennedy Moon. And they were based on some of my talk with the designer, the fragrance designer. We had conversations about who I was as a person. What are my favorite memories? What do I want to carry forward? So we have Ethiopian opals, which is my birthstone, which is in the fragrance that you can see. And then we have 24 karat gold flakes. And we have tobacco leaf in it because my mom grew up on a tobacco farm. So all those little types of aspects are in this fragrance. You can sample it here, but you can buy the book and the fragrance on JayneKennedy.com. Thank you much.